not my
Okay,
favorite
so
at
he's
all.
pulling up there.
All right, don't knock
Don't
on my
knock on my window like that.
You probably didn't need to. It's not the best way to start the conversation, FYI.
I can't hear what he...
So we can't see.
Yeah, that seems to me like, okay, you got my license. Go do what you got to do.
Nah, I know, but
Write me the ticket.
What did I talk about? Trying to.
I know, but why does he need to stay there? Go back to your motorcycle and...
Keep your window down. I'm going to get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car.
What happened? He...
Get out of the car.
Oh,
Okay.
he got pissed.
That guy.
Get out of the car.
Who is he? He's got a
That's
red
his
thing.
partner.
Oh, he's crazy. No, he was different. Get out! Rah!
I mean, there's no.
What do you
I
know?
mean, there really is no need to escalate it that much.
I'm getting arrested.
There just isn't.
I'm getting arrested.
Okay. There's no... At this point, you're not in any danger.
When we tell you to do something, you do it.
Look at him.
You understand? You understand? Not what you want, but what we tell you. You're a little
It's
You're a little
power- It's
confused.
a power.
too late. Too late. All right, bro, take me to jail, bro. Do what you got to do.
We will.
We will. Good, bro.
Yeah.
It ain't
I mean,
good.
Come on.
He wants him to be in pain. He wants him to...
Well, I don't know if he wants that, but he wants to assert his dominance is what he definitely wants to do.
My window like you crazy.
He's...
I don't know that he wants to put him in pain. I mean, that's speculative, I think, but
He said he beat on the window. It's an expensive car. Why you got to beat on the window so crazy? Just knock normally. That guy that came up out of nowhere, the guy was even going to give, he was being patient with them. It was the other guy that came up and started, oh
so
my
now this
gosh.
is ridiculous.
It's the same
So
guy.
that's ridiculous, and that's a guy who needs to be fired. I mean,
Look.
that's ridiculous.
For a traffic stop, this guy doesn't have a weapon.
That's too far.
I'm write the ticket. He was speeding and let it go. He's trying to get the practice so he can play
No,
for you
I
guys and make your city money.
I don't recommend stopping like that.
But
on a
but why
traffic
would they
stop.
do that? Because they're scared for their friend.
I get it, but then you're. It's just not.
It's not may not be
recommended.
wise, but he's scared.
Well, what wasn't wise was
What's going on? You know, he's going to practice too.
going to
If
the
I
game,
see
but
my
yeah.
brother, okay, now look at this guy. What is wrong with them? Yeah, talk reasonably.
You're not going to give me a license? You're not going to give me a license?
Ah, license right now.
See,
License right
the whole
now.
thing needs to be de-escalated, literally from the first stop.
You're dealing with me now. Look, they can't even get straight. Who's in charge? What game? My friend looks like he's in danger. We don't trust cops already.
All right, go get your license.
The de-escalation tactics are terrible throughout this whole video.
He shuts his door for him. He stopped. Who is Drew?
Drew Rosenhaus is his agent.
As his agent.
Yeah,
So they let his agent come.
I don't think that's Drew Rosenhaus.
Is that Drew? Oh, who is he?
Not him. I don't know who that is.
It must be a cop. You think?
Yeah,
He's telling him to open his legs to take the cuffs off?
this whole thing could have been avoided by.
Open your legs to take off the cuffs. Come on. What a joke.
There's Drew Rosenhaus,
That's Drew?
I think.
Yeah, he said he's going home.
Yeah, listen, again, it could have been de-escalated by both Tyreek Hill and the cops.
No, not Tyreek Hill. All the cops. He shouldn't have did what he did, but the guy went crazy. The guy went ballistic.
So you don't think that
Him saying that-
him knocking on the window
and
and
saying,
Tyreek Hill going nuts,
don't knock on my window like that. Don't knock on my window like that. Okay, that, to your point, that's somebody just giving their, what do they call it? Free speech. They got a nice car. You don't have to bang on it like that. What's up, everybody? We're back again with another, I don't know if this is a special edition or, anyway, we're just going to talk about Tyreek Hill getting arrested and whether or not it's BS or not. So I got my good friend and yours, as this is one of our biggest viewed episodes, Welcome back to the show, Dan.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for interesting subject.
Interesting
matter.
subject. And I think this is good because whether anyone realizes it or not, the hue of my skin is black, the hue of yours is white. And because we're friends, you just realized that.
Just realized it. Okay.
We tried to get Tyreek Hill, but he was unavailable. And so we thought the next best thing was to have, two people that don't necessarily look alike, don't necessarily experience life in the same way all the time, to have this discussion. And plus, you and I talk about this stuff all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's for us, it's daily conversation. It really is. And for those of you who don't know, I was a police officer years and years ago, went through the academy.
Bad boys.
So had some experience with this. Was out on the road some, was out in the jail some. Decided not to make it my career because I needed to make real money and so support a family. And at the time where I was working at, the pay wasn't, really what I needed. So definitely something that was a life experience and learned a lot of things. So I probably have a little bit different of a view on some of these things.
Let's just get to it. Would you have locked up or put in handcuffs Tyreek Hill in that? You've been a cop. You know what it's like.
Yeah.
Were they right or wrong? Just right or wrong?
Well,
you
can't just say right or wrong, right? So, number one, neither one of us were there. So we don't know the full 100% the story, right?
But did we need to be there? We saw the cameras, and they were pretty clear. It wasn't like...
Well, we didn't see what happened before the cameras were on,
okay.
Right? So to be fair, we didn't. I guess my take's going to be totally different than some others on this. So, number one, he admitted that he was speeding.
Okay.
Right? So, okay, he gets pulled over. Fair enough.
Okay.
The cop tells him, roll your window down.
Okay.
He rolls him down, gives him his ID, insurance, all that stuff. Tyreek Hill rolls his window back up. So, for me...
Which, in some cases, I would say is not all that uncommon. I agree he shouldn't have rolled his window back up, but I've been pulled over a number of times, and usually what happens, they take your ID, they go back to their car, they look at stuff, and all that sort of thing.
So my guess is the cop had already run his plate, probably knew who he was.
Of course he knew. He's in a Lambo.
Yeah, so again, probably did. So, but to that point, as an officer, you do have to worry about your safety. Right? So roll your window down. He rolls it down, gives it to him, rolls it back up. He knocks on his window, says, hey, roll it down. Now, to that point, he could have rolled it down 3 inches. And as long as the cop had vision into the car, to me, that...
But isn't that a bunch of bull?
No.
Because he's worried about his safety, but it's Tyreek Hill. He knows who it is. The guy, it's Sunday. He has to, unless
you hear of O.J. Simpson?
I have heard of
I'm just saying, just because you're Tyreek Hill,
but OJ was retired. He's literally, it's Sunday. Everyone knows in America, not everyone, but I'd say 99.99% of people know that it's football Sunday.
Sure.
And he's on his way to work.
Listen,
are you really worried about your safety, or are you just like, I caught a big fish and I'm about to do something?
I will tell you, and again, I'm not. I think we'll get into this. I don't necessarily agree with everything the cops did, for sure. But I will tell you that traffic stops and domestic violences, right? Domestic violence and traffic stops are the 2 areas where cops will get harmed, right? Those are the 2 major calls that you get where somebody could get hurt.
So is it impossible for a cop to separate out the reality that they deal with every day and a special situation? I'm pulling up to a Lambo. It's a black guy. I can at some point figure out it's Tyreek Hill. Are they unable to say that, okay, this is not the everyday traffic stop. I am likely not in danger. This guy likely doesn't want to do something crazy.
The first time you do that is probably the first time you get shot. You have to go up on a traffic stop as if you don't know who's in there. It could be the car could have been registered to Tyreek Hill, but somebody else was driving it.
Okay, good point. Right? Good point.
So I'm just saying.
But once they find out it's Tyreek Hill, they can't. They still have to be on. I'm on guard.
You don't think Tyreek Hill could hurt somebody if he wanted to?
I do think that he could hurt somebody if he wanted to, but I also would think that he's headed to work.
How do they know that?
It's Sunday.
What if we
Are
talked
they-
about this already. What if and not every cop is probably a sports fan,
Okay.
right? So you heard one cop say, "Hey, he's a star for the Miami Dolphins." Maybe the cop didn't know.
But why does that not change it immediately then? And I get you, everyone. No one's above the law. I agree with that.
But anybody could hurt you too.
Right. But the likelihood has to, like, a kid could hurt you. A kid could have a gun. But
100% true.
right. But do you rip a kid out of the car like that?
So
is there no point?
So that's where we agree. So again, he said, "Hey, roll your window down, Tyreek Hill." Rolled it back up,
which was probably not a good thing.
Well,
even
not
though
ideal, right? Because again, the cop wants to be able to see that he's safe.
Well, I think more than anything, it pissed him off. Oops, sorry, my mom.
No, yeah, sorry, mom.
Sorry, mom.
But it probably did, and so that's where things started to go haywire, right? So up until that point is where I say the cop was doing his job. He's trying to stay safe. So a lot of that, but then he lost it, right? So then he yanks him out.
But and it was a different. So why are there 4 cops? To explain that from a cop perspective.
Well, I don't know for a fact. I think 2 of them were motorcycle cops, so they generally ride together.
Okay.
So I'm guessing. I wasn't there. I don't know, but
Right.
I would guess that 2 of them were already there.
By
right?
the time we see the video, it looks like 4 or maybe even 6 cops end up being at the scene.
And generally that's not necessary. But
Okay.
let's go to the next step that I saw.
That was wrong.
Was them pulling him out, right?
Yeah.
So he made the comment, or Tyreek Hill had made the comment, "Hey, I just had surgery or something of that nature, or had an operation," and so the cop, not being professional, says, "Well, you obviously didn't have your ears worked on," or whatever that comment was, right? There's a certain, in my opinion, there's a certain professionalism that you need to maintain as a police officer.
Absolutely.
Right? No matter the situation. So the other part to this is being a police officer, there is a First Amendment thing. So, right, Tyreek Hill can swear, cuss, yell within reason, right? Without making threats. But you can say F this, or whatever. That's all protected by the First Amendment.
But as a black person, I would not recommend that you
highly recommend
swear.
it. Also, even as a white person, right? So,
I would recommend that they use that First Amendment right.
So
you saying they should use it?
So listen, I'm on TikTok all the time, and I see these First Amendment orders. There's a lot of people who don't like them, and basically they go into the post office or city buildings and try to record because it's protected under the First Amendment, and I believe it's the Fourth Amendment. So we have rights as American citizens, and well, so. Yeah, right. So no, we do. I mean, we have the freedom of speech.
All American citizens, black.
Now listen,
Indian,
that doesn't
Mexican.
mean that others aren't going to try to suppress those rights.
Right.
Because if you watch these First Amendment auditors on TikTok, they call the cops. The post office called the cops, or the city hall called the cops, and some of the cops, they don't do what's right. They don't say, "Hey, listen, this person's here. It's protected. It's they're allowed to do it." Some cops throw them in cuffs and take them to jail.
Go into G.I. Joe mode.
Yeah, which again, and I've said this, you and I have talked about this at least 100 times probably. My thing with police and what's going on, especially against minorities, specifically the black community, is that the good cops do not call out the bad ones.
Right.
Right? So I've seen it firsthand, and this is true in any profession. There's good, there's bad, right? Look at clergy. Look at priests. Right. I mean,
that's just a human thing.
So there's good and bad, but in order for the bad ones to go away, the good ones have to be willing to step up and say, no, this is wrong. And unions, unfortunately, and some people are going to hate on me for this, but there's good things to unions, bad things to unions. But if the bad ones aren't being called out and dealt with and basically taken out, then you're going to have this corruption.
So let me say this, because I think the one who was like a little pit bull like just over aggressive, just I can't wait to show you that I'm the boss.
I'm the boss, yeah.
You're gonna know it, and you're hard of hearing, and da 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 da. Like to me, to your point, that's not a good cop. But can we defend him by saying there is a situation where you want somebody like that on your squad?
Well, on a football team, you do, right? You want somebody like that on your football team.
Not necessarily.
But when dealing with the public, and listen, being a police officer may be one of the hardest jobs there is, because you do need some, I don't want to say strength, brute strength. You need to be assertive in certain instances, and others you need to be less assertive. And so I think that's where training comes in. So. And I think a lot of this starts with training and continued education. When I went through the police academy, it was, I don't know, 10, 11 months.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's not enough time, in my opinion, to go through everything and then go deal with the public.
And deal with the public, which is every personality. Yeah, every personality in the book you're going to deal with.
Police officers should have, at least, in my opinion, a two-year degree. They should go through an academy. They should go through, criminal law or something of that nature, right? Because even as I went through the academy, I didn't know every law,
right?
And so it's kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
So, but back
super
to this.
dangerous, because now you're locking up people when they're just doing their rights. So does he have the right, you think, to roll his window back up?
Not if it's so. According to the law, if it's a direct lawful order, which it was, he shouldn't have.
What was the lawful order? To roll your window out?
To roll your window down for my safety. So and
for my safety.
So officer safety is a thing that's been proven in the court of law.
Okay.
That.
Well, of course, they've let people kill black people, and it's like, he wasn't feeling safe. It's like the Minnesota thing. Now, and I'm not trying to get you in trouble or anything like that by saying something crazy, but I'm just saying they've used the latitude that they've used on that
for sure
has been like, whoa,
for sure,
dude.
More so than they should.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Totally agree. But in that instance, again, if you roll it down 3 inches, because I think Tyreek Hill said, well, it's Miami, everybody knows me. I don't want people like rolling up and seeing me and try to,
Yeah, taking pictures, making fun of me.
Totally get that. So again, if the police officer was saying, hey, roll down 3 inches, just want to make sure that I can see what's going on.
Right.
Where your hands are at. To me, that's fair, I think.
I do too. I think it's fair. But it seems like it's okay for them not to be fair in that situation. If you take public safety,
you start saying them.
I mean, police officers.
But hold on, you can't generalize, right? What if I said them about football players?
Yeah,
right? All football players. I'm just, you know what I'm saying?
No, it's not fair. But I'm saying
generalizations.
Yeah, okay. These specific cops in that specific scenario in Miami, they seem to have been, using the latitude to their advantage, and you would think that
at least one of them.
At least one of them, but the other ones aren't stopping them. The other ones aren't saying, "Dude, relax."
That goes back to my whole point of, if you see something being done that's not right,
questionable,
you need to step up. And I've seen instances where other police officers have said, "Whoa, pull back. You got to chill. I'll go ahead and finish up here."
Yeah.
It doesn't happen nearly enough, in my opinion.
Why does it not happen? Because I think I know, but you tell me why.
Well, there's a
you
code.
You can't break the code.
Right? There's a code, there's a
I can't discipline you in front of the criminal.
100%.
Right.
So
because dude was way out of line. You could just tell by his energy. He was like, he wanted some action.
And that's one thing that I don't know if they do it enough or if at all, but de-escalation has to be on the list someplace for continued education.
Yeah,
there's
dude,
also something called
down.
verbal judo, which is just talking to people in a manner in which it will de-escalate, and it's only talking to the point. I'm not an expert in it, so I couldn't talk about it fully, but there's ways that if you de-escalate, you can get somewhere mutually, right?
Yeah.
I can get what I need out of you. I need your license, registration, proof of insurance.
Well,
right?
here's the problem
Without
I have.
yanking you out of the car.
And here's the problem I have. When we talked about this a little bit, it's Tyreek Hill. He's a superstar. He's going to be okay. If this is...
I asked our office earlier, did you hear about Tyreek Hill? And I don't think anybody knew exactly who Tyreek Hill was. And then I said, the football player that got pulled out of the car, and they're like, yes. Right? So if we've got people, again, we've got people in the office who don't know necessarily who he is. Should every police officer know who Tyreek Hill is?
Maybe not. But my point is that...
Could you name me the offensive guard for the Miami Dolphins?
No, I definitely don't know the offensive guard of Miami Dolphins.
I don't either,
but what I will say is that this guy is black. He's wealthy.
He's a Pro Bowler.
He's a Pro Bowler. He's probably one of the best in the league right now. But with him, he's going to be okay. If this happens to Tyreek Jackson, who isn't in the NFL, who doesn't drive a Lambo, who's also maybe rolled his window up and didn't know he,
Or Tyreek Jackson, who does drive a Lambo because he's been successful in business, right?
Maybe.
But he doesn't. But I get what you're saying. I mean,
yeah, I'm saying
what's going to happen to that guy?
I think we know. I think we can assume
He's
with
in jail.
if not worse.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. I hate this idea that people act like, oh, we're in 2024. Does that still happen, or is this even still
every
real?
day?
It's like it's happening every day.
Every day.
And who is going to? And so and we're not here to talk about politics today, but when you start looking at policy and politics, this is what people are talking about. This is why people get so fired up, because if this can happen to someone who is seemingly successful, seemingly, rich, well, like I told you, he means a lot for that team. He means a lot for that city, a lot for the state. Like, the Miami Dolphins bring in so much money. I would be surprised if the higher-ups that are there don't put a heavy hand down on...
Somebody's getting fired.
Yeah.
Somebody, and
I would hope so.
I would expect it to, based off the way they... Again, if you're not de-escalating, if you're escalating as the police officer, you should be professional. Sometimes you have to escalate stuff, right? I mean, there is a certain point where, because somebody's broken the law, somebody is putting themselves or somebody else in danger, of course, there are times where you have to escalate.
Right.
Stopping Tyreek Hill for going too fast, and
the world is not any better off. Well, maybe he was going too fast.
Listen, it was illegal. He said,
it's
"Give me
illegal.
my ticket."
Yeah, give him the ticket, and that is illegal, and that maybe did help public safety. But pulling him out of the car like that and putting his face on the pavement does nothing for who? Who does that do anything for?
Well,
is it for him so he can just teach him a lesson? Is it for the cop to show, hey, we don't take this from people? I don't know who was helped in that situation.
Sometimes you have a cop or many cops that have an ego, or that are, want to stand out there with a puffed chest, and unfortunately, those are the people who screw up and cause things to happen that most of us, I would think, don't want to happen. You are a police or a peace officer, right? You are there to support the community and make sure it's safe. And so, again, by stopping him, if he's doing 100 miles an hour in a 55, stop him, for sure. He's broken the law. And if you think he should get away with that, then you're wrong, because it is law. But from there, does it have to go out to yank this guy out, cuff him, throw him on his stomach, put your knee in his back? He didn't fight back. Yes, verbally he was ticked off, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing illegal about swearing at somebody.
Yeah.
And having that conversation. So, yeah, once it got to the point of yanking him out and doing all the other stuff, it's a problem.
And here's what I think's really bad is that, because if I talk to some of my friends that are cops, they will hate the fact that that's what gets highlighted. Like, the media has now highlighted this bad situation. And so, negatively, you now as a person, because maybe there's 100 episodes yesterday where a cop pulled over a black person, They treated him correctly, and it was fine. But now that our minds, or at least mine, I can't speak for everybody, has seen that, there is this little tinge of the next time I get pulled over, I gotta, there's going to be something in me that's going to create a little anxiety because I see how black people are treated when they get pulled over.
But also understand, I've gotten pulled over. It's been a while now, but I think it's been 2 or 3 years. At night, on the way home from the airport, right? I rolled down my window. I had both my hands on the steering wheel. I said, yes or no, sir. You don't have to do it that way. But guess what? He didn't write me a ticket. He said, hey, your headlight's out. Get it taken care of. It can be fairly simple.
So that's what you'd recommend for people is be as compliant as possible. Roll your window down. Put your hands on the steering wheel. Make sure you stay calm.
I think if you can make the officer, whether the officer's black, white, male, female, Hispanic, whatever, right? I think if you can make them feel at ease as they're rolling, and mine was at like 11 o'clock at night, so It was getting late. But rolling the window down, having my hands on the steering wheel, not going through the glove compartment, right? Trying to look for my paperwork, because then they're automatically going to think, why is he going through his glove compartment?
But you have enough knowledge to know that they can be police officers. Some of them can be spooked or be nervous at night.
Sure.
So you have enough knowledge to say, I'm going to do absolutely everything I can. Did you feel like less than a man, less than a person to have to?
But to me, it didn't matter if I made that person feel safe, because I know how dangerous that job is.
Yeah.
If I had to feel less of a man for 4 minutes, I'm okay with that.
Right.
And maybe that's my human nature, is I don't want somebody to think of me in a certain way. Like, I'm okay being a little bit different than what I normally am.
Yeah.
By just doing that, right? And saying, if you're cool, if you're safe, if you feel safe dealing, then I'll do what it's necessary.
So that'd be your
Do you have to do that? No, absolutely not. But I think you get better results.
Yeah, you get better results. It's not, you have the right to say bad things or whatever.
Sure.
But
why the hell did you pull me over? This is
but I don't recommend it either, because to be, completely honest, I would do the same thing. I would be as calm, as docile as possible, because I don't want to get shot. And I truly believe that with who I am and that it is a higher likelihood because of the way I look, whether that's true or not. It's implanted in my head that the way I look could influence whether this guy feels safe or not.
Sure.
And
if a cop pulls us over 20 minutes in between, I'm guessing, depending on what if the cop's white or black or whatever, is probably, and I'm driving a minivan and you're driving a Porsche and you got your hat on backwards and all the, right? And all this other stuff, we're going to get 2 different approaches by the cop. The cop's going to approach. I believe that firmly.
Okay.
But I also believe we'll get the same result if we both had our hands on the steering wheel and said, officer, my wallet's in my back pocket. Do you mind if I go ahead and get that? Or my insurance is in my glove compartment. Is it okay if I get that? Right? And while you may not feel manly about doing that, by putting the officer, at ease about, hey, I have my gun's also in the back seat, or whatever. By having those communications, I think, again, they feel like you're being honest and forthright and trying to make them feel at ease. You might still get a ticket.
Yeah.
But I think there's a proper way, and I've explained this to my boys, that when you're driving, roll the window down, put your hands on the steering wheel, let them tell you what to do.
Yeah.
No, listen,
well,
stuff can go haywire still.
Yeah. Well, and I especially think it can go haywire for black people. And I hope that that's not always true, and I hope that everyone can get the same result. But I do think that when you see images like this, it reinforces the idea that this America is different, whether you're white or black, even if you've got money. If this guy with all the money that, most black people could ever think to imagine.
Most white people too.
White people too could think to imagine, right? To have this level of success is probably more of a rarity for black people than it is a rarity for white people.
Listen, at the end of the day, this all comes to me, in my opinion, comes down to furthering education. Well, starting off with more education.
Yep.
Before you become a police officer, continue education as they go through their career, and teaching de-escalation and all these other things.
Yeah.
It's never going to be perfect. You're going to have the bad apples. It happens. I'm not saying we have to accept that even.
No.
But that's a fact. And so how we deal with that and how we try to improve upon that, I think, is what we need to be talking about. For sure, what happened to him after he got yanked out of the car was unnecessary.
Right.
100%. Should he receive a citation for speeding? Yes. Or reckless op or whatever it is. I think he would agree with that. But what happened with the lack of de-escalation by the cops that were there after that, totally uncalled for, in my opinion. Again, wasn't there, but from what I've seen, it's just not right. And those people, I believe, will be dealt with correctly, especially since it's Tyreek Hill.
Right. So anyway, I think that's a good talk. What do you think?
Good conversation.
All right, good conversation.
Let's do it again.
Let's do it again sometime. All right, y'all. Hope that was helpful. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time. It's your boy, StephenMotivate. Dan Koeth. Peace.